Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another tropical update here by Adrian Weather Forecast. This will be another forecast on Tropical Storm Arthur. And as you guys saw, we can possibly maybe have this become a very weak hurricane. At first, I didn't think this was actually going to happen, but it seems like this is definitely going to strengthen a lot more, and the possibilities to get to a hurricane, a Category 1, are increasing. So this could potentially actually become a preseason hurricane, and we saw the possibility for it to skin the North Carolina coast. This can possibly bring a hurricane and watch it. So this is not 100% likely, but it's not impossible. I'm not going to rule out the possibility now. So we can definitely possibly see this become a major system and possibly weak hurricane. We have major updates on the track, major updates on the intensity guidance, of course, and major updates on the radar and everything else. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for 2,310 subscribers. Thank you guys. And without further ado, let's get this tropical update. So here we are looking at the National Hurricane Center, and they just went in once again. Arthur has been updated to a 45 miles per hour. So this thing is continuing to strengthen wind-wise with the maximum sustained winds. It's very likely this possibly by the next update possibly be around 50 miles per hour. So it's still moving at 9 miles per hour north to the northeast and still has 1,002 millibars at its as its strength there. As we look at the possibility for actually tropical storm force winds, this is probably a huge update here. Look at this. We have now have a huge area of a 90 to a 100% chance. So this is definitely going to be a massive system for a decent time. And this is actually showing you how the likelihood of this thing strengthening a lot has increased. Look at parts of the Outer Banks right here are in that 60 to a 70% risk for tropical storm force winds, and then some areas are in that 70 to an 80% chance. So this is showing you how close this system's going to get right here. So this thing is going to get very close to Outer Banks here. So as you can tell, this is basically where we have the best probability to see tropical storm force winds. In just based on this is definitely where we have a very good chance to see tropical storm force winds. And we can't rule out the possibility for this to become a very weak hurricane. But definitely see that the parts of the Outer Banks and the coastal areas in North Carolina will definitely continue to see these tropical storm warnings for the next couple of days, around 2 days. But definitely going to be a massive system for North Carolina, the North Carolina coast, and even parts of even just the areas out there all the way to the Mid-Atlantic. You guys have a 5 to 10% chance of tropical storm force winds, so we're still going to be seeing widespread wind threats throughout the East Coast. But of course, North Carolina seems to have that primary threat, of course, because they might get skinned landfall. Couldn't think of the word for a second. As we now go ahead and check out the the possibility for 50 knots or more. Earlier it was 20 to 30% chance, and now we have a 30 to 40% chance, and that's more than 58 miles per hour. So as you can tell, this is getting closer and closer to that possibility for hurricane force winds. So the possibility for seeing 58 miles per hour or more has increased by really more than around 10% chance. So this is definitely something we definitely need to watch out for. As we now look into the satellite imagery, this seems to be becoming a bit more organized. It's still not extremely organized because this thing's still one-sided, where we have the strongest of the winds or the strongest of all the moisture to the west of the low pressure system, but we are going to be seeing, of course, a lot of cloud cover. But the thing is, it's very impressive, the vorticity. The thing has a ton of vorticity here, especially for the size of it. You can see a lot of rotation, these clouds right here, very dense rotation right here around that eye. You can just see that very little cloud cover in that center, in that little circular area. That, of course, is the eye of this tropical storm. So here it is. You can see all this cloud cover, this rotation. Here it is, moving counterclockwise, like all systems usually do, of course. So here we have that low pressure system. This thing's definitely going to be having a lot more dense cloud cover right here. As you see, definitely seeing a lot more cloud cover, a lot more thunderstorms and downpours. You're going to start seeing this cloud cover now into the North Carolina coast and South Carolina. Look at these outer bands, this dense outer band cloud cover. That's going to be heading towards the North Carolina coast and South Carolina coast. And that is definitely when you definitely need to prepare, guys, because this could possibly, obviously it won't make a huge landfall. It might just skin the Outer Banks, which is actually be a very, very close call to landfall. I still can't rule out the possibility for landfall. but this is still going to bring it. If it becomes a hurricane right before it passes the Outer Banks, that means we're going to be more widespread tropical storm force winds. So we definitely need to still board up. If you're in the Outer Banks, you definitely want to board up your house windows just in case you want to get water. I know maybe if you don't have, I know we have this pandemic and it's not safe going to the store, but rather being safe than sorry, just we had to mask something because this is going to be a lot stronger than we thought. So obviously, once they fly again, once again the tropical storm, we'll have this thing reload. But as you see, we have this area of tropical storm current winds. It has extended a lot more. So here we have it getting just past. Based on this, the eye is just going to be going within 20 to 30 miles away from the Outer Banks. Still have those tropical storm force warnings in the dark blue, so much of the North Carolina coast. But really in between 8 a.m. and the morning hours of tomorrow, seems like it's definitely going to be that big threat. So this is not days away. This is not even really more than 20 hours away. So we can definitely be seeing these tropical storm warnings here for the next maybe day or so. Yeah, possibility we are going to be seeing the strong wind threat and tropical storm like downpours for more than 24 hours. But this tropical storm warnings they're not going to be lasting that much longer, only 20 hours, because this thing is not far whatsoever. Really, by 8 o'clock tonight, it's really been 12 hours away to 15 hours away from this major system passing by. So this is not too far whatsoever. And of course, if this become getting closer into tropical hurricane force winds, we can possibly even have maybe hurricane watches likely for the northern coast of North Carolina. So as we now look into the Tropical Storm Arthur model track to see the spaghetti models, to see exactly the cone based on these models. Here we have, it has shifted a bit more to the west now as all the models are showing it going this way. This is basically our cone right now. So we still have two models actually showing it impacting the mid-Atlantic, but that's not likely anymore. But we still are getting very, very close to the North Carolina coast. So here's a 24-hour range. So by that 24-hour range, it's going to be impacting that part of North Carolina. And this is really the next 48 hours, 72 hours, and 96 hours. So this thing's going to be it's not going to be a super fast-moving system, but it's not going to be super slow. But we are going to see that widespread downpours and a lot of heavy rain. That's going to be very widespread and a long-lasting threat. As you see, it's getting a lot closer to this Category 1 force wind. Some models are showing it like right on the border here, more than around 63 knots there. We only need 65 knots for this to become a hurricane. Only 65 knots for it to be a borderline hurricane. And look at this. This thing is continuing to strengthen here. Look at it. They're all getting at a major hurricane, major tropical storm. This is actually a lot more likely to become a hurricane. It's actually, if you guys would have asked me yesterday if this would have become a hurricane, I would have said definitely not and probably start laughing at you. But this is actually surprisingly likely to become a hurricane. A Category 1. You see multiple models are showing it more than 55 knots right here. So this is a very strong tropical storm. So who knows, by tomorrow maybe we have one model, maybe two models, maybe three models getting to a Category 1. But that would be maybe borderline like this, just to a Category 1. So who knows, it might still be likely to have a tropical storm. But strongest winds, the strongest winds we have based on now is around 63 knots, just below 65 knots. So it's it's like 2 knots away from the borderline hurricane. So it's not far whatsoever. As we now look at the new GFS model run here, here we look at what we have. Here we have this major system here at 1,000 millibars. So it has dropped to 1,000. It's basically most likely to drop to 1,000 next coming hours. And here we are going to start seeing these rain showers arriving in North Carolina by tonight. So this is like real. This is happening very soon. And look at this. GFS is still showing it a skinning landfall for the Outer Banks, now dropping to 991 millibars. This thing is dropping and strengthening extremely fast. As you see, you're going to be seeing tropical downpours, heavy thunderstorms for the North Carolina coast, including Kitty Hawk, of course. Look, this thing might even drop to 987 millibars. This is going to bring extreme flooding, and the biggest really possibly for actually seeing this tropical storm impact and maybe even hurricane impact will be for this part of North Carolina coast. Not the whole North Carolina coast like this. It's not going to be impacting this whole coast. It's impacting this one little area right here near Kitty Hawk and, of course, the Outer Banks. Not like the areas near the North Carolina border. That's not, we're going to be seeing that part of North Carolina impacted. Only those areas where we have this tropical storm warnings will be impacted, and then it will pass by. But really, this is going to be impacting here within the next 24 hours based on this to 30 hours. So a big threat, as you guys can tell. There's a huge threat throughout parts of the mid-Atlantic. Also going to be seeing that big flooding, and we're also going to, not to mention that really heavy rain once the system even leaves. So we're going to be seeing rain for around 2 days in some of these areas in the mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. So as we now look into the CMC, here we are seeing this CMC is actually showing it most likely getting a lot closer to the Outer Banks than it did earlier in the morning upload. So it seems like CMC is also showing it possibly maybe even making a landfall based on this. It just doesn't like go right. It doesn't like that 6 hour point. Since it skips for 6 hours, we can't necessarily tell. But either way, we're gonna be seeing the CMC showing it really a lot less powerful at only 1,000 millibars once it passes by, really. So CMC is not really showing this becoming a hurricane or really strong whatsoever. As we look into the winds here, as you see, we are seeing around 45 knots now. So that's gonna be right there to that west part of the low pressure system. So you can see there's more circular rotation and circular formation of these very strong winds right here in the parts of the Atlantic. As we now get very soon, look at this massive system. This is absolutely incredible. This thing, we're going to be seeing possibly around 50 knots at 991 millibars. Of course, we're going to be seeing very powerful winds for these areas in the Outer Banks. And look at this, at 987 millibars, we have that very well defined eye right in the middle. So this is very likely where it could become a hurricane. Look, we're going to be seeing up to 52 knots to 55 knots for part of the Outer Banks near Kitty Hawk. We're going to be seeing up to around, let me actually see this, I don't know exactly if it actually tells you necessarily. Look, we're going to be seeing up to 57 knots here. That's absolutely incredible. So this is not far whatsoever. Like you said, you need a 65 knots, so this is up to 57. So this is not far whatsoever to become a hurricane. And then it kind of dies down a little bit. We're still going to be seeing some very strong winds. And this system is actually still going to be quite a monster system, even when it does leave. Look at this. Going to be seeing some really powerful winds with this still, and can possibly maybe even see some really strong winds as well. This thing won't die down that much necessarily. So like I said, we're also going to be seeing some very strong wind gusts for the East Coast. So it may not be right like as close as it is for North Carolina, and not as close for for the East Coast, or not as close for the New England area or Northeast like it is for North Carolina. But we are going to see these widespread winds, as you see. And as we now again check out the vorticity here, you're going to be seeing a ton of vorticity going over this Outer Banks. And look at this. This thing's so much bigger on the vorticity signature than anybody could have really anticipated. This is absolutely crazy. The amount of vorticity is absolutely crazy for the system here. Like it's incredible the amount of cyclonic rotation. Like it's so organized rotation wise. It's gonna increase in size so fast. Look at it now. Look at it later tomorrow. This thing's gonna be literally double in size and literally like double in strength like by tomorrow, or not double in strength. That would be absolutely crazy. That'd be like a moderate or category 1, but definitely gonna double in size and definitely gonna be just a massive system in general. And let's go ahead and check out the rainfall totals here. Have not checked that out yet. Actually, I don't know why it's not working. So yeah, I do apologize for that. I was actually having some Wi-Fi issues, but it's back again. So here we have that track. You can kind of see like that cone with just by looking at the total accumulated precipitation. As you see, North Carolina is still in that cone, and it seems that the Outer Banks will actually be seeing the most amount of rain as the system continues. So really, the most amount of rain left out of the system will actually be in the United States, possibly seeing up to 7 to 8 inches of rainfall. So definitely be seeing flooding issues, and like we saw, we're going to be seeing tropical storm force winds with that. So absolutely crazy. You can be seeing tropical storm force winds and possibly power outages and a lot more. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm going to be on a live stream with someone else. So if you guys already know who that is, be sure to check out their channel as well. I'm going to be in that live stream. But bye guys. See you later.